Officer Marcus Thompson drove slowly through the quiet streets near the university. It was 2:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. The city was mostly asleep. Only a few streetlights lit up the empty sidewalks. Marcus had been a police officer for 8 years. He knew these streets well. During the day, they were full of students walking to class. At night, they were different. Quiet and sometimes dangerous. Marcus liked working the night shift. It was peaceful most of the time. He could drive around and think, but he also had to stay alert. Bad things happened at night. Thieves liked the darkness. They thought no one was watching. But Marcus was always watching. The radio in his car was quiet tonight. No calls for help. No reports of trouble. Marcus drove past the coffee shops and bookstores that were closed for the night. He turned onto University Avenue. This was the main street that led to the campus. Big old trees lined both sides of the road. Their branches hung over the street like a green tunnel. Marcus had been having a busy month. There had been several break-ins near the campus. Someone was getting into buildings at night. They were stealing computers and other expensive things. The university was worried. They had asked the police to patrol more often. Marcus was happy to help. He liked the university. His daughter wanted to go there someday. As he drove past the library, Marcus saw something that made him slow down. A person was walking on the sidewalk. This was not unusual. College students often walked around at night. But something about this person looked wrong. They were wearing a dark hoodie that covered their face. Their hands were deep in their pockets. They walked with their head down, looking at the ground. Marcus watched the person for a moment. The way they moved seemed nervous. They kept looking around like they were afraid someone might see them. When they got near the library building, they stopped. They stood there for a minute, just looking at the building. Then they started walking again, but very slowly. They were studying the building like they were planning something. Marcus felt his police training kick in. After 8 years on the job, he had learned to trust his feelings. When something looked wrong, it usually was wrong. This person in the hoodie was acting like someone who was up to no good. Maybe they were planning to break into the library. Maybe they were looking for an easy way inside. The person in the hoodie walked around to the side of the library building. Marcus could not see them anymore from where he was parked. He decided to follow them. He drove his patrol car slowly around the block. He did not want to scare the person away, not yet. He wanted to see what they were really doing. When Marcus came around the corner, he saw the hooded person again. They were now standing near a side door of the library. They were looking up at the windows. Then they walked to another door and tried the handle. The door did not open, but the person kept trying. They pushed on it and pulled on it. This was definitely suspicious behavior. Marcus had seen enough. He needed to talk to this person. He pulled his patrol car up to the curb about 50 feet away. He did not turn on his flashing lights. He did not want to cause a scene if this was just a student who was locked out. But he also did not want to let a real criminal get away. Marcus got out of his car quietly. He was a big man, over 6 feet tall and strong from working out at the gym. He had short brown hair and kind eyes, but he could look very serious when he needed to. Tonight he needed to look serious. The person in the hoodie had not noticed Marcus yet. They were still trying to get into the building. Marcus could see now that it was a man. He was not very tall, maybe 5 feet 8 inches. He looked like he might be young, but it was hard to tell with the hoodie covering his face. Marcus walked slowly toward the man. He kept his hand near his radio in case he needed to call for backup. He had learned to be careful. Even situations that looked simple could turn dangerous quickly. The man was still focused on the door. He seemed to be getting frustrated that he could not get inside. When Marcus was about 20 feet away, he called out in a firm but polite voice. "Excuse me, sir." "Police officer." "Can I have a word with you?" The man in the hoodie jumped like he had been shocked. He spun around quickly to look at Marcus. Marcus could see part of his face now. He looked scared and surprised. His eyes were wide and his mouth was open. For a moment, neither man moved. Marcus kept walking toward him, but slowly. He did not want to scare the man into running. "I just want to talk to you," Marcus said. "Can you tell me what you're doing here?" The man in the hoodie took a step back. He looked at Marcus, then at the patrol car, then back at Marcus. He seemed to be thinking about what to do. Marcus could see that he was nervous. His hands were shaking a little bit. I was just, the man started to say, but then he stopped. He looked around like he was looking for a way to escape. Marcus did not like this. In his experience, innocent people did not look for ways to escape when police wanted to talk to them. "Sir, I need you to stay right there," Marcus said. His voice was more serious now. "I just want to ask you a few questions." But the man in the hoodie was not listening anymore. Marcus could see the fear in his eyes change to panic. The man looked at the police car again, then at Marcus, then at the dark campus behind him. Marcus knew what was about to happen before it happened. The man turned and started to run. Marcus was not surprised, but he was disappointed. He had hoped this could be settled with just a conversation. Now he would have to chase the man. Marcus was in good shape, but chasing people was never fun. It was dangerous for everyone involved. "Stop, police!" Marcus shouted as he started running after the man. The man in the hoodie was fast, but Marcus was faster. He had been a runner in high school and college. He still ran every morning before work. His long legs helped him cover ground quickly. The man ran across the street and onto the campus. Marcus followed, speaking into his radio as he ran. "This is Officer Thompson. I'm in pursuit of a suspect near the university library. Male, approximately 5'8", wearing a dark hoodie. Request backup." The dispatcher's voice came back through the radio. "Copy that, Officer Thompson. Units are on the way." Marcus put his radio back on his belt and focused on the chase. The man was running toward the center of campus where there were lots of buildings and trees. If he got there, he might be able to hide. Marcus needed to catch him before that happened. The man ran past the student center and around the corner of the science building. Marcus was gaining on him. He could hear the man breathing hard. Running was tiring him out. Marcus, on the other hand, was just getting warmed up. He ran 5 miles every morning. This short chase was nothing to him. As they ran through the campus, Marcus thought about all the break-ins that had happened recently. Maybe he was about to catch the person who had been causing all the trouble. Maybe this chase would solve several crimes at once. That would be a good night's work. The man in the hoodie ran faster when he heard Marcus calling for backup. His feet made loud slapping sounds on the concrete sidewalk. Marcus could tell the man was getting tired. His running was becoming slower and less steady, but he kept going, heading deeper into the campus. Marcus followed close behind. He was breathing hard, but not as hard as the man he was chasing. The campus at night was like a maze of shadows and dark corners. Streetlights made pools of yellow light, but between them everything was black. The man seemed to know where he was going. He turned left at the Student Union building, then right past the dormitories. "Stop running," Marcus shouted. "I just want to talk to you." The man did not stop. Instead, he looked back over his shoulder at Marcus. This was a mistake. While he was looking back, he did not see the low fence in front of him. His foot caught on the fence and he stumbled. He almost fell, but managed to keep running. But now Marcus was much closer. They ran past the football field and toward the academic buildings. This part of campus was darker. There were fewer streetlights here. The man turned again, this time toward a group of science buildings. Marcus was only about 10 feet behind him now. He could hear the man breathing heavily. He could also hear him saying something, but Marcus could not understand the words. The man ran between 2 tall brick buildings. Marcus followed. The space between the buildings was narrow and dark. Marcus had to slow down because he could not see well. He did not want to run into a wall or trip over something. The man seemed to know this area better. He kept running at the same speed even in the darkness. When they came out the other side, they were near the chemistry building. Marcus had been here before when he was in college. It was an old building with lots of windows and several entrances. The man ran toward the main entrance and tried the door. It was locked. He tried another door, also locked. Marcus was close enough now that he could tackle the man if he needed to, but he wanted to try talking first. "Sir, please stop running. You're only making this worse for yourself." The man turned around to face Marcus. He was breathing so hard he could barely speak. His hoodie had fallen back a little and Marcus could see more of his face. He looked older than Marcus had expected, maybe 40 years old. He had dark hair and glasses that were a little crooked from all the running. "You don't understand," the man said between breaths. "I'm supposed to be here. I work here." Marcus had heard this story before. Many times, people who were caught doing something wrong claimed they belonged wherever they were caught. "Okay, sir. If you work here, then you can prove it. Do you have an ID card, a key?" The man patted his pockets. He looked confused and worried. My wallet. I left it inside. My office is in this building." "Which office?" Marcus asked. He was still ready to chase the man if he ran again. Third floor, room 304. I'm Dr. Mitchell. I teach chemistry here. Marcus looked at the man carefully. He was wearing old jeans and a worn-out hoodie. His shoes were dirty sneakers. He did not look like a professor. Most of the professors Marcus had met wore nice clothes and looked professional. This man looked like he had been sleeping in his clothes. Dr. Mitchell, Marcus said, if you're really a professor here, why were you trying to break into the library? I wasn't trying to break in, the man said. He sounded frustrated and tired. I was coming back from getting some fresh air. I've been working in my lab all night. The door to this building is supposed to be open for faculty with key cards, but sometimes the locks don't work right. Marcus was not convinced. The story sounded possible, but something still felt wrong. If you have a key card, where is it? The man patted his pockets again. Then he looked worried. Oh no, I think I left it on my desk too, along with my wallet and my phone. This was getting more suspicious, not less. Marcus had never met anyone who left their wallet, phone, and work ID all in the same place when they went outside. Sir, I'm going to need you to put your hands where I can see them. What? Why? The man asked. He looked shocked. Because your story doesn't make sense, Marcus said. You claim to be a professor, but you have no ID. You were trying to get into buildings at 2:30 in the morning. And when you saw me, you ran. Innocent people don't run from police. I ran because I was scared, the man said. His voice was getting louder. I've never been in trouble with police before. When I saw your uniform, I panicked. I know it was stupid, but I just wanted to get back to my lab. Marcus was trained to listen to what people said and how they said it. This man sounded like he was telling the truth. But Marcus had also been trained not to trust everything people told him. Criminals were often very good liars. Sir, I need you to turn around and put your hands behind your back, Marcus said. He took his handcuffs off his belt. You're arresting me? The man asked. He looked shocked and scared. For what? Attempted breaking and entering, Marcus said. And running from police. But I didn't break into anything. I'm supposed to be here. Marcus could hear sirens in the distance. His backup was coming. Sir, please turn around. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. The man looked like he might cry. This is a huge mistake. I'm Dr. James Mitchell. I've worked at this university for 15 years. You can call the chemistry department. You can call security. They'll tell you who I am. We'll sort all that out at the station, Marcus said. Right now, I need you to cooperate. The man slowly turned around and put his hands behind his back. Marcus could see that his hands were shaking. My experiment, the man said quietly. I have to check on my experiment. If I don't check it soon, 3 months of work will be ruined. Marcus put the handcuffs on the man's wrists. They were not too tight, but they were secure. What kind of experiment? I'm growing crystals, the man said. Special crystals for a new kind of medicine. They have to be checked every few hours or they won't grow right. I've been working on this for months. If I miss the next check, I'll have to start over. Marcus had to admit the story was very detailed. Most people who made up stories kept them simple. This man was talking about specific scientific things. But Marcus had also arrested people who were very creative with their lies. 2 more police cars arrived with flashing lights. Officers Johnson and Rodriguez got out. Marcus waved to them. I've got him secured, Marcus called out. Officer Johnson walked over. She was a small woman with short blonde hair, but she was tough and smart. What happened? She asked. Caught him trying to break into the library, Marcus said. Then he ran. Claims he's a professor here, but he has no ID. Officer Rodriguez looked at the man in handcuffs. You okay, sir? He asked. The man nodded. I'm fine. But this is all a misunderstanding. I really do work here. My name is Dr. James Mitchell. I teach organic chemistry. Officer Johnson looked at Marcus. Did you check with campus security? Not yet, Marcus said. I was going to do that at the station. My lab is right there, the man said. He nodded toward the chemistry building. 3rd floor. You can see the light is still on. That's where I was working. You can look through the window and see my experiment. Marcus looked up at the building. There was indeed a light on in a 3rd floor window. But that did not prove anything. Maybe someone else was working late. Or maybe the man had seen the light and made up his story based on that. We'll check all of this out properly, Marcus said. But right now we need to take you to the station. The man looked very sad and worried. Can someone please call Dr. Sarah Chen? She's the head of the chemistry department. She'll tell you who I am. Her number is in the faculty directory. We'll make sure someone calls her," Officer Johnson said. She was always kind to people they arrested, even when they might be guilty. Marcus helped the man walk to his patrol car. The man was not fighting or trying to escape anymore. He just looked tired and defeated. "I understand you're just doing your job," the man said as they walked. "But I really hope you can figure out quickly that I'm innocent. My students are depending on this research." Marcus opened the back door of his patrol car. "Duck your head," he said gently as the man got into the car. Marcus had arrested hundreds of people over the years. Some of them were clearly guilty. Some of them might have been innocent. This man seemed different somehow. He seemed genuinely confused and worried, not angry or defiant like most criminals, but Marcus knew he had to follow procedure. Even if there was a chance the man was telling the truth, Marcus had found him acting suspiciously at 2:30 in the morning. He had run when confronted by police. These were not the actions of someone who belonged where he was. As Marcus drove toward the police station, the man in the back seat kept talking about his experiment and his students. He gave specific details about chemical processes and university procedures. Either he was really a professor, or he was the most knowledgeable criminal Marcus had ever arrested. Marcus drove through the empty streets toward the police station. The man in the back seat had become quiet. Marcus could see him in the rearview mirror. He was looking out the window with a worried expression on his face. His hands were still cuffed behind his back, and Marcus could tell he was uncomfortable. "Sir, are you feeling okay?" Marcus asked. He always tried to be professional and kind even when arresting someone. "I'm just thinking about my experiment," the man said quietly, "and about how I'm going to explain this to my wife. She's going to be so worried when I don't come home." Marcus felt a little sorry for the man. If he really was innocent, this was going to be a terrible night for him and his family. But Marcus had to do his job. He could not let someone go just because he felt sorry for them. "What time were you planning to go home?" Marcus asked. "Around 4 in the morning, the man said. "I usually work until then when I have experiments running."
My wife is used to it.
"But she'll start to worry if I don't call her by 5. They pulled into the parking lot of the police station. It was a big brick building with bright lights all around it. Even at 3 in the morning, there were several police cars parked outside. The police station never closed. There was always someone working, always something happening. Marcus helped the man out of the patrol car. He was careful to make sure the man did not hit his head on the door. They walked up the steps to the front entrance. The man moved slowly because the handcuffs made it hard for him to balance. Inside the station, the night sergeant was sitting behind a big desk. His name was Sergeant Williams. He was an older man with gray hair who had been working at the police station for 25 years. He looked up when Marcus and the man walked in. "What do we have here, Thompson?" Sergeant Williams asked. "Possible attempted breaking and entering at the university," Marcus said. "Caught him trying to get into the library around 2:30. He ran when I tried to question him." Sergeant Williams looked at the man in handcuffs. "What's your name, sir?" "Dr. James Mitchell," the man said. "And I wasn't trying to break into anything. I work at the university. I'm a chemistry professor." Sergeant Williams had heard many stories over the years. He looked at the man carefully. "Do you have any identification, Dr. Mitchell?" "No, I left everything in my office. My wallet, my phone, my faculty ID card. I just went outside for some fresh air and got locked out." "That's convenient," Sergeant Williams said. He did not sound like he believed the story. Marcus took the handcuffs off the man's wrists. The man rubbed his wrists where the metal had been. There were red marks there, but Marcus had not made them too tight. "Let's get you processed," Sergeant Williams said. He stood up and walked around the desk. "Follow me." They went to a room with a camera and a height chart on the wall. This was where they took pictures and fingerprints of people who were arrested. The man looked around the room like he had never seen anything like it before. "Have you ever been arrested before, Dr. Mitchell?" Sergeant Williams asked. "No, never," the man said. "I've never even gotten a speeding ticket." Sergeant Williams took several pictures of the man. Front view, side view, holding a number. The man looked very uncomfortable. He kept blinking because the camera flash was bright. "Now we need to get your fingerprints," Sergeant Williams said. He had a special machine that could scan fingerprints electronically. "Will this help prove who I am?" the man asked. "Maybe," Sergeant Williams said. "If you really are Dr. James Mitchell, and if you've ever had a background check for your job, then your fingerprints might be in the system." They pressed each of the man's fingers onto the scanner. The machine made a beeping sound each time. When they were done, Sergeant Williams looked at the computer screen. "Well, that's interesting," he said. "What?" Marcus asked. "The fingerprints match someone named James Mitchell. Age 45, clean record. No arrests, no warrants." The man looked relieved. "See? I told you who I was." But Sergeant Williams was not finished. "However, the James Mitchell in our system is listed as a high school teacher in Ohio, not a university professor." The man's face fell. "That must be a different James Mitchell. It's a common name. Can't you check with the university?" "We will," Sergeant Williams said. "But first we need to finish booking you." They went to another room where the man had to empty his pockets. He did not have much with him. Some loose change, a tissue, and a small notebook with writing in it. Sergeant Williams looked through the notebook. "What's this?" he asked, showing the notebook to the man. "Those are notes about my experiment," the man said. "Chemical formulas and temperatures and timing. I always carry a notebook in case I think of something important." Sergeant Williams could not read the writing in the notebook. It looked like a foreign language to him. Lots of letters and numbers and symbols. It could have been real scientific notes, or it could have been nonsense written to look impressive. "We'll hold on to this for now," Sergeant Williams said. Next, they had to search the man to make sure he was not carrying anything dangerous. This was always embarrassing for everyone involved, but it was required. The man cooperated without complaining. "I need to ask you some questions for our records," Sergeant Williams said. He sat down with a form to fill out. Full name? James Michael Mitchell. Age? 45. Address? The man gave an address in a nice neighborhood near the university. Sergeant Williams wrote it down. Occupation? Professor of Organic Chemistry at the university. How long have you worked there? 15 years. I got my job right after I finished my PhD. What were you doing at the university tonight? Working on a research project. I'm trying to grow special crystals that could be used to make new medicines. The process takes a very long time and has to be monitored regularly. Sergeant Williams wrote down everything the man said. He had to write it down even if he did not believe it. Why did you run when Officer Thompson tried to talk to you? The man sighed. I panicked. I've never been in trouble before. When I saw the police car, I got scared. I know it was stupid, but I wasn't thinking clearly. I just wanted to get back to my lab. Do you have any family we should contact? My wife, Margaret. But please don't call her unless you have to. She'll be terrified if she gets a call from the police in the middle of the night. Sergeant Williams finished filling out the form. Okay, Dr. Mitchell, you're being charged with attempted burglary and evading police. You'll see a judge in the morning and he'll decide about bail. Attempted burglary, the man said. He looked shocked. But I didn't try to break into anything. You were trying to get into a building at 2:30 in the morning, Marcus said. And you ran when police approached you. That's enough for an arrest. Can I please call someone? The man asked. I'm allowed one phone call, right? Yes, you can make one call, Sergeant Williams said. They took the man to a phone in a small room. He thought for a moment, then dialed a number. Marcus and Sergeant Williams could hear his side of the conversation. Dr. Chen, this is James Mitchell. I'm sorry to wake you up, but I'm in serious trouble. I've been arrested. Yes, arrested. The police think I was trying to break into the library. No, I was working late in the lab and went outside for air. I got locked out and couldn't get back in. Yes, I know how it sounds. Can you please call the police station and tell them who I am? I don't have my ID with me. Thank you so much. I'm at the main police station downtown. He hung up the phone and looked at Marcus and Sergeant Williams. Dr. Chen is the head of our chemistry department. She's known me for 15 years. She'll vouch for me. We'll talk to her when she calls, Sergeant Williams said. They put the man in a holding cell to wait. It was a small room with concrete walls and a metal bench. There was a toilet in the corner and a small sink. The man sat down on the bench and put his head in his hands. This is unbelievable, he said to himself. 15 years of teaching, and now I'm in jail. Marcus felt bad watching the man sit in the cell. Something about his story rang true. The way he talked about his work, the detailed notes in his notebook, the way he seemed genuinely confused and worried rather than angry. Most criminals were angry when they got caught. This man just seemed sad and scared. Thompson, Sergeant Williams called out. Come fill out your incident report while everything is fresh in your mind. Marcus sat down at a computer and started typing. He described finding the man near the library, watching him try to open doors, approaching him, and then chasing him across campus. He wrote down everything the man had said about being a professor and working on an experiment. As he typed, Marcus kept thinking about the man's story. If he really was a professor, then this was a terrible mistake. But if he was lying, then he was very good at it. Marcus had arrested many people who claimed to be innocent. Most of them were obviously lying. This man was different. The phone rang and Sergeant Williams answered it. Marcus could hear him talking to someone, but he could not hear what they were saying. After a few minutes, Sergeant Williams hung up. "That was interesting," Sergeant Williams said. "What?" Marcus asked. "That was Dr. Sarah Chen from the University Chemistry Department. She confirms that Dr. James Mitchell works there. She says he's one of their best professors and that he often works very late when he has experiments running." Marcus felt his stomach drop. So he was telling the truth? The night moved slowly at the police station. Dr. Mitchell sat quietly in his holding cell, checking his watch every few minutes. Marcus could see him through the small window in the cell door. The man looked tired and worried. He kept running his hands through his hair and staring at the ceiling. Marcus finished his incident report and submitted it to the computer system. The report would be reviewed by his supervisor in the morning. Marcus hoped he had done the right thing. The phone call from Dr. Chen had made him start to doubt himself, but he knew he had to follow procedures. Sergeant Williams was busy with other paperwork. The police station was quieter than usual for a Tuesday night, but there were still things to do. A drunk driver had been brought in an hour earlier. 2 officers were investigating a car accident across town. The night shift always had something going on. Around 4 in the morning, Marcus went to check on Dr. Mitchell. The man was lying on the metal bench, but he was not sleeping. His eyes were open and he was staring at the ceiling. "How are you doing, sir?" Marcus asked through the door. Dr. Mitchell sat up. "I keep thinking about my experiment. By now I should have checked the temperature and added more solution. If the crystals don't grow properly, months of work will be wasted." "I'm sorry about that," Marcus said. He meant it. If this man really was a professor, then Marcus had caused a lot of problems. "It's not just my work," Dr. Mitchell said. "I have graduate students who are depending on this research for their dissertations. And if we can't finish this project, we might lose our funding. The university gives us money based on our results." Marcus did not know much about how universities worked, but Dr. Mitchell's explanation sounded real. He talked about specific things like graduate students and funding in a way that seemed natural. "Can someone else check on your experiment?" Marcus asked. "Maybe, but they would need to know exactly what to do, and they would need access to my lab. All my notes are in my office, and I'm the only one with the key card that works at night." Dr. Mitchell looked at his watch again. "My wife will start to worry soon. She knows I usually come home by 4:30 when I work late. She'll try to call me, but my phone is in my office." Marcus felt worse and worse about the situation. If Dr. Mitchell was telling the truth, then Marcus had arrested an innocent man and ruined important scientific work. But if Dr. Mitchell was lying, then he was incredibly good at it. "I'm going to call the university security office," Marcus said. "Maybe they can help us figure this out." Marcus went back to his desk and found the number for university security. It was 5 in the morning now, but security worked 24 hours a day. A man answered the phone. "University security, this is Officer Davis. This is Officer Thompson from the city police. I need to ask you about one of your faculty members, Dr. James Mitchell from the chemistry department." "Oh, Dr. Mitchell, sure, I know him. Nice guy, works really late sometimes. Is everything okay?" Marcus felt his heart sink. "What does Dr. Mitchell look like?" "Let's see. About average height, dark hair, wears glasses. Usually dresses casual, like jeans and sweaters. He's been here for many years. Very dedicated to his research." The description matched the man in the holding cell perfectly. Marcus asked a few more questions. Officer Davis confirmed that Dr. Mitchell had access to the chemistry building at all hours. He said Dr. Mitchell often worked until 3 or 4 in the morning when he had experiments running. "Is Dr. Mitchell in some kind of trouble?" Officer Davis asked. "There's been a misunderstanding," Marcus said. "We'll sort it out." Marcus hung up the phone and went to find Sergeant Williams. He was in the break room drinking coffee and eating a donut. "Sarge, I think we have a problem," Marcus said. "What kind of problem?" "I called university security. They confirm that Dr. Mitchell works there and that he often works very late. The description matches our suspect perfectly." Sergeant Williams put down his coffee cup. "Are you sure you talked to the real security office?" "I called the main university number and asked to be connected to security. The guy I talked to knew Dr. Mitchell personally." That doesn't look good for us, Sergeant Williams said, but we still need to be careful. We need to verify his identity completely before we let him go. They went back to the holding area. Dr. Mitchell was sitting on the bench with his head in his hands. He looked up when he heard them coming. "Any news?" he asked hopefully. "We're still checking your story," Sergeant Williams said. "University security says they know you, but we need more proof." "What kind of proof?" Dr. Mitchell asked. "We need someone to come down here with your identification and verify who you are in person." Dr. Mitchell thought for a moment. "Dr. Chen said she would help, and the security office has copies of all faculty ID photos. They could bring that." "We'll see what we can arrange," Sergeant Williams said. At 6 in the morning, the day shift started arriving at the police station. Marcus was supposed to go home at 7, but he wanted to stay and see how this situation was resolved. If he had made a mistake, he wanted to be there to apologize. The phone rang again. This time it was Dr. Chen calling back. "I've been thinking about this all night," she said. "I'm very worried about Dr. Mitchell. He's never been in any kind of trouble, and he has a very important experiment running that needs constant attention." "We understand your concern," Sergeant Williams said, "but we need to follow procedures. Can you come to the police station with his identification?" "Of course. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I'm bringing his faculty ID card and his employee file. I'm also bringing Dr. Martinez from the chemistry department. He's worked with Dr. Mitchell for 10 years and can identify him." After Dr. Chen hung up, Sergeant Williams went to talk to Dr. Mitchell again. "Dr. Chen is coming with your identification," he said. "If everything checks out, you'll be released." "Thank you," Dr. Mitchell said. He looked relieved but still worried. "What about the charges? Will I have a criminal record?" "That depends on what the district attorney decides," Sergeant Williams said. "If you really are innocent, the charges will probably be dropped." Dr. Mitchell nodded, but he still looked worried. "I've never been in trouble with the law before. I don't know how any of this works." Marcus felt terrible. This man seemed genuinely innocent and confused. If the identification checked out, Marcus would have to admit he had made a serious mistake. At 6:30, Dr. Chen arrived at the police station. She was a small Asian woman in her 50s, wearing a professional suit despite the early hour. With her was a tall Hispanic man who introduced himself as Dr. Martinez. "I want to see Dr. Mitchell immediately," Dr. Chen said. She sounded angry and worried. "We need to verify his identity first," Sergeant Williams said. Dr. Chen showed them a faculty ID card with Dr. Mitchell's photo on it. The photo matched the man in the holding cell exactly. She also had employment records showing that James Michael Mitchell had worked at the university for 15 years. "This is ridiculous," Dr. Chen said. "Dr. Mitchell is one of our most respected faculty members. He's never been in trouble. He's dedicated his life to research that could help develop new medicines." Dr. Martinez nodded. "James is a good man. He works harder than anyone I know. If he was at the university at 2 in the morning, it's because he was doing important research." Sergeant Williams looked at all the documentation. Everything seemed to be in order. "Okay, let me go get Dr. Mitchell and you can identify him in person." They brought Dr. Mitchell out of the holding cell. As soon as Dr. Chen saw him, she rushed over. "James, are you okay? What happened?" "I'm fine, Sarah, just tired and embarrassed. This has all been a huge misunderstanding." Dr. Martinez shook Dr. Mitchell's hand. "We were so worried when Sarah called us. No one could believe you had been arrested." Sergeant Williams watched the reunion carefully. These people clearly knew each other well. This was not fake. Dr. Mitchell really was who he said he was. "I'm very sorry for this mix-up," Sergeant Williams said. "We'll process your release immediately." But Dr. Mitchell was thinking about something else. "Sarah, how long have I been here? What time is it?" "It's almost 7 in the morning," Dr. Chen said. Dr. Mitchell's face went pale. "Oh no, my experiment. It's been over 4 hours since I checked it. The crystals might be ruined." "Don't worry about that now," Dr. Chen said. "Let's get you out of here first." It took another 30 minutes to complete the paperwork for Dr. Mitchell's release. Marcus watched as Sergeant Williams filled out forms and made phone calls. The whole process seemed to take forever. Finally, Dr. Mitchell was free to go. They gave him back his notebook and the few things that had been in his pockets. Dr. Chen and Dr. Martinez were waiting for him. "James, do you want me to drive you home?" Dr. Chen asked. "You look exhausted." "No, I need to go check on my experiment first," Dr. Mitchell said. "Then I'll go home and try to explain all this to my wife." Marcus walked over to Dr. Mitchell before he left. Sir, I want to apologize. I was just doing my job, but I'm sorry this happened to you. Dr. Mitchell looked at Marcus for a moment. Then he held out his hand. Officer Thompson, right? I understand you were trying to protect the university. I don't blame you for doing your job. I just wish this could have been resolved more quickly. Marcus shook Dr. Mitchell's hand. I hope your experiment is okay. Me too, Dr. Mitchell said. 3 months of work depends on it. Dr. Sarah Chen was sound asleep when her phone started ringing. She lived in a quiet house near the university campus with her husband and 2 teenage children. The house was dark and peaceful at 3 in the morning. Sarah had gone to bed around 11 after grading papers and preparing for the next day's lectures. The phone rang 4 times before Sarah woke up enough to answer it. She looked at the clock on her nightstand and felt confused. Who would call her at this hour? Maybe it was an emergency at the university. Sometimes the security office called faculty members when there were problems with their labs. Hello? Sarah said. Her voice was thick with sleep. Dr. Chen? This is James Mitchell. I'm sorry to wake you up, but I'm in serious trouble. Sarah sat up in bed. She was suddenly wide awake. James Mitchell was one of her best professors. He had worked in her department for 15 years. He was quiet and dependable, never caused any problems. What kind of trouble could he be in? James, what's wrong? Are you okay? I've been arrested, James said. His voice sounded tired and stressed. Arrested? Sarah could not believe what she was hearing. What do you mean, arrested? For what? The police think I was trying to break into the library. I was working late in my lab and went outside for some fresh air. When I tried to get back into the building, I got locked out. A police officer saw me trying to open doors and thought I was a burglar. Sarah was trying to process this information. It sounded like a bad dream. This is crazy, James. Didn't you tell them who you are? I tried to, but I left my wallet and ID card in my office. I don't have any way to prove who I am, and when the officer approached me, I panicked and ran. I know it was stupid, but I got scared. You ran from the police? Sarah was shocked. James was the most cautious person she knew. He followed every rule and procedure perfectly. She could not imagine him running from anyone. I wasn't thinking clearly, James said. I just wanted to get back to my lab to check on my experiment. But running made everything worse. Now they think I'm definitely guilty of something. Sarah got out of bed and started pacing around her room. Her husband was still sleeping. She tried to keep her voice quiet so she would not wake him. Where are you now? Sarah asked. At the main police station downtown. They've charged me with attempted burglary and evading police. I get one phone call and I'm using it to call you. James, this is terrible. What can I do to help? Can you call the police station and tell them who I am? I told them you're the head of the chemistry department and that you've known me for 15 years. Maybe if you vouch for me, they'll believe my story. Sarah was already thinking about what she needed to do. Of course I'll call them. What else do you need? Someone needs to check on my experiment, James said. I've been working on those crystals for 3 months. If they don't get checked soon, all that work will be lost. Sarah knew how important James's research was. He was working on a project that could lead to new medicines for cancer patients. The university had given him a large grant to do this work. If his experiment failed, it would be a huge setback. Don't worry about the experiment right now, Sarah said. Let's focus on getting you out of jail first. I can't stop worrying about it, James said. The crystals have to be maintained at exactly the right temperature and humidity. If the conditions change too much, they'll stop growing properly. Sarah could hear the stress in James's voice. She had never heard him sound so worried. James, listen to me. We'll figure out the experiment later. Right now, I need to call the police and straighten this out. Thank you, Sarah. I don't know what I would do without your help. This whole thing is like a nightmare. What's the number at the police station? Sarah asked. She was already looking for a pen to write it down. James gave her the number. Ask for Sergeant Williams. He's the one in charge of my case. I'll call right now, Sarah said. Try not to worry. We'll get this sorted out. After she hung up, Sarah sat on the edge of her bed for a moment. She was trying to understand how this could have happened. James Mitchell was one of the most honest people she knew. He had never been in any kind of trouble. The idea of him being arrested was almost impossible to believe. Sarah went downstairs to her home office and found the university faculty directory. She wanted to have James's employment information ready when she called the police. She also looked up the university security office number in case she needed to call them too. She dialed the police station number. A man answered after 3 rings. Police station, Sergeant Williams speaking. Sergeant Williams, this is Dr. Sarah Chen. I'm the head of the chemistry department at the university. I understand you have one of my faculty members in custody. Are you talking about the man who claims to be Dr. James Mitchell? He doesn't just claim to be Dr. Mitchell, he is Dr. Mitchell. I've worked with him for 15 years. He's one of our most respected professors. Sergeant Williams was quiet for a moment. Ma'am, I appreciate your call, but we need to be careful. We found this man trying to break into university buildings at 2:30 in the morning. When our officer approached him, he ran. Those are not the actions of someone who belongs there. Sarah felt frustrated. Sergeant Williams, Dr. Mitchell often works very late when he has experiments running. It's completely normal for him to be at the university at that hour, and if he ran, it's probably because he was scared. He's never dealt with police before. He has no identification with him, Sergeant Williams said. No wallet, no ID card, nothing. How do we know he's really who he claims to be? Because I'm telling you who he is, Sarah said. Her voice was getting louder. I've known this man for 15 years. He's a dedicated researcher and teacher. He would never break into anything. I understand your concern, ma'am, but anyone could call claiming to be a department head. We need more than just a phone call to verify someone's identity. Sarah realized that Sergeant Williams had a point. He did not know her either. She could be anyone calling with a fake story, but she was determined to help James. What do you need from me to prove that Dr. Mitchell is who he says he is? Sarah asked. We need someone to come to the station with proper identification and employment records. Someone who can positively identify him in person. Sarah looked at the clock. It was almost 3:30 in the morning. I can be there in an hour, she said. I'll bring his faculty ID card and his employment file. That would be helpful, ma'am. But it's still very early. Are you sure you want to come down here now? Sergeant Williams, Dr. Mitchell is sitting in your jail for something he didn't do. Of course I want to come down there now. After she hung up, Sarah went back upstairs to get dressed. Her husband woke up when she turned on the light. Sarah, what's going on? He asked. One of my professors has been arrested by mistake, Sarah said as she put on clothes. I have to go to the police station to help him. Arrested? Who? James Mitchell. The police think he was trying to break into the library. Her husband sat up in bed. James Mitchell? The chemistry professor? That's ridiculous. He's the most honest person at the university. I know, Sarah said. That's why I have to help him. Sarah drove to the university first to get James's employment file from her office. The campus was dark and quiet. She used her key card to get into the chemistry building and went up to her office on the second floor. She found James's file in her filing cabinet. It had his photo, his employment history, his education background, and his current research projects. She also took his faculty ID card from the department's file of spare cards. As she was leaving the building, Sarah thought about James's experiment. She knew it was important to him, but she did not know enough about the specific procedures to help with it. She would have to call Dr. Martinez in the morning. He worked closely with James and might be able to check on the crystals. Sarah drove through the empty streets to the police station. She had never been to a police station before and she felt nervous. The building looked big and intimidating with all its bright lights. Inside, she asked to speak to Sergeant Williams. A police officer brought her to his desk. Dr. Chen? Sergeant Williams asked. Thank you for coming down here. I know this is unusual. I brought Dr. Mitchell's identification and employment records, Sarah said. She showed him the faculty ID card and the file. Sergeant Williams looked at the photo on the ID card carefully. This does look like our suspect, he said. And these employment records look official. Because they are official, Sarah said. Dr. Mitchell has worked at the university since 2010. He has tenure. He's published dozens of research papers. He's never been in any kind of trouble. Can you identify him in person? Sergeant Williams asked. Of course I can. I see him almost every day. Sergeant Williams led Sarah to the holding area. Through a window she could see James sitting on a bench in a small cell. He looked tired and worried. When he saw Sarah, he stood up and walked to the window. James, Sarah said. Are you okay? I'm fine, James said through the glass. Just embarrassed and worried about my experiment. Sarah turned to Sergeant Williams. That's definitely Dr. James Mitchell. I've worked with him for 15 years. There's no doubt about it. Sergeant Williams nodded. Okay, Dr. Chen, I believe you. We'll start the process to release Dr. Mitchell. How long will that take? Sarah asked. Maybe an hour or two. There's paperwork to fill out. Dr. Chen sat in the police station waiting area for what felt like hours. The plastic chairs were uncomfortable, and the fluorescent lights made everything look harsh and cold. She kept checking her watch and thinking about all the things she needed to do once James was released. Around 6 in the morning, she decided to call Dr. Martinez. He was another professor in the chemistry department who worked closely with James on research projects. If anyone could help with James's experiment, it would be him. Dr. Martinez answered his phone on the second ring. Like Dr. Chen, he was used to getting calls at unusual hours. Scientists often worked around the clock when they had important experiments running. "Hello?" Dr. Martinez said. His voice sounded alert despite the early hour. "Carlos, this is Sarah Chen. I need your help with an emergency." "What kind of emergency?" Dr. Martinez asked. Dr. Chen explained the whole situation. She told him about James being arrested, about the misunderstanding with the police, and about the experiment that needed attention. "This is unbelievable," Dr. Martinez said. "James arrested? That's impossible. He's the most law-abiding person I know." "I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. I'm at the police station now waiting for them to release him. But I'm worried about his crystal experiment." "Do you know anything about it?" "A little bit. He's been working on growing pharmaceutical crystals for months. It's very delicate work. The temperature and humidity have to be perfect, and the crystals need to be checked every few hours." "Can you go to his lab and check on them?" Dr. Chen asked. "I can try, but I don't have access to his lab after hours." "You need a special key card for the chemistry building at night." Dr. Chen thought for a moment. "I have a master key card for the building, and I have access to all the labs. If you can meet me at the university, we can check on the experiment together." "Okay," Dr. Martinez said, "but I want to come to the police station first. If James is really in trouble, I want to help him. That would be great. The more people who can vouch for him, the better." Dr. Martinez arrived at the police station 30 minutes later. He was a tall man in his 40s with graying hair and a friendly face. He looked professional even though he had gotten dressed quickly. "Where is James?" Dr. Martinez asked as soon as he saw Dr. Chen. "Still in holding. The police are processing his release, but it's taking a long time." Dr. Martinez shook his head. "This whole thing is ridiculous. James Mitchell is one of the most honest people at the university. He's never even taken a sick day that he didn't really need." Sergeant Williams came over to where Dr. Chen and Dr. Martinez were sitting. "Dr. Chen, we're ready to release Dr. Mitchell. But first, can you both verify his identity one more time?" "Of course," Dr. Chen said. They brought James out of the holding cell. He looked tired and rumpled, but he managed to smile when he saw Dr. Martinez. "Carlos, what are you doing here?" "Sarah called me," Dr. Martinez said. "I came to help get you out of this mess." "I can't believe you both came down here in the middle of the night," James said. "I'm so embarrassed about all this." "Don't be embarrassed," Dr. Chen said. "This was just a misunderstanding." Sergeant Williams watched the reunion carefully. It was clear that these people really knew each other. Their concern for James seemed genuine, and James seemed genuinely surprised and grateful to see them. "Dr. Martinez," Sergeant Williams said, "can you confirm that this man is Dr. James Mitchell?" "Absolutely," Dr. Martinez said. "I've worked with James for 10 years. We've published research papers together. We teach classes together. This is definitely Dr. James Mitchell. And you can confirm that he works at the university?" "Yes. He's a tenured professor in the chemistry department. He's one of our best researchers. The university has given him several grants to do his work." Sergeant Williams nodded. "Okay, I'm satisfied with his identity. Dr. Mitchell, you're free to go. All charges are being dropped." James looked relieved, but he was also thinking about other things. "What time is it?" he asked. "Almost 7 in the morning," Dr. Chen said. James's face went pale. "Oh no, my experiment. It's been over 5 hours since I checked it. The crystals might be completely ruined." "Don't worry about that now," Dr. Martinez said. "Sarah and I were planning to go check on your lab anyway." "You were?" James looked surprised. "We know how important your research is," Dr. Chen said. "We couldn't just let your experiment fail because of this mix-up." It took another 20 minutes to complete all the paperwork for James's release. The police had to fill out forms explaining why the charges were being dropped. They also had to return James's notebook and the few personal items he had been carrying. While they waited, Dr. Chen talked to James about what had happened. "James, I'm concerned about how this might affect your reputation at the university. Even though you're innocent, some people might remember that you were arrested." "I've been thinking about that too," James said. but I hope people will understand that it was just a misunderstanding. They will, Dr. Martinez said. Everyone who knows you will know that you could never do anything criminal. Finally, all the paperwork was complete. James was officially free to go. The three professors walked out of the police station together into the early morning sunlight. I feel like I haven't seen daylight in days, James said. Even though it's only been a few hours. How are you feeling? Dr. Chen asked. Do you want to go home and rest? No, I need to check on my experiment first. Then I need to call my wife and explain what happened. She's probably wondering why I didn't come home. They drove to the university in Dr. Chen's car. The campus was starting to wake up. A few early students were walking to morning classes. The maintenance crew was watering the flowers and picking up trash from the day before. When they got to the chemistry building, Dr. Chen used her master key card to let them in. They took the elevator to the third floor where James's lab was located. James's lab was a long room filled with equipment and workbenches. There were computers, microscopes, chemical storage cabinets, and several machines that James used for his crystal research. In one corner was a special chamber where James was growing his crystals. James went straight to the crystal chamber and looked at the computer screen that monitored the conditions inside. His face showed relief. They're okay, he said. The temperature stayed stable, and the humidity is still in the right range. The crystals are still growing. Dr. Chen and Dr. Martinez looked at the chamber. Inside, they could see small containers with tiny crystals growing in them. The crystals were beautiful, like tiny jewels sparkling under the special lights. They're amazing, Dr. Martinez said. How long have you been working on this batch? 3 months, James said. If they had been ruined tonight, I would have had to start completely over. That would have set my research back by half a year. James checked all the equipment and made some adjustments to the conditions in the chamber. He added some fresh solution to the containers and recorded the data on his computer. There, he said. That should keep them growing properly for another few hours. Dr. Chen was looking at James's research notes on his computer. James, this work is incredible. If these crystals work the way you think they will, they could revolutionize cancer treatment. That's the hope, James said. But there's still a lot of work to do. I need to test the crystals with different medicines and see how well they work. Dr. Martinez was examining some of the equipment. James, you've put together an amazing lab here. No wonder you work such long hours. I love this work, James said. That's why I was so worried about the experiment. This isn't just my research. It could help sick people someday. They spent about an hour in the lab making sure everything was working properly. James showed Dr. Chen and Dr. Martinez how the crystal growing process worked and explained his research goals. I should probably go home now, James said finally. My wife must be worried sick. She expected me home hours ago. What are you going to tell her? Dr. Chen asked. The truth, James said. She won't believe it at first, but it's better than trying to make up some other story. As they prepared to leave the lab, Dr. Chen had an idea. James, why don't you take a few days off? You've been through a traumatic experience. You should rest. I appreciate the offer, Sarah, but I'd rather keep working. My research helps me deal with stress, and I have students depending on me. Dr. Martinez nodded. I understand. Work can be the best medicine sometimes. They left the chemistry building together. The campus was much busier now. Students were hurrying to morning classes and professors were arriving for work. Everything looked normal and peaceful. Thank you both so much for helping me, James said. I don't know what I would have done without you. That's what colleagues do for each other, Dr. Chen said. We're like a family in the chemistry department. If you need anything over the next few days, just call, Dr. Martinez said. I can help with your classes or check on your experiments. James got into his car to drive home. Dr. Chen and Dr. Martinez watched him leave. I still can't believe this happened, Dr. Martinez said. It just shows how quickly a normal situation can turn into a nightmare, Dr. Chen said. But at least it's over now. They walked to their own cars, both thinking about what a strange night it had been. In a few hours, they would be teaching classes and doing research like any other day. Officer Marcus Thompson was getting ready to go home when Sergeant Williams called him over to his desk. Marcus had been on duty for almost 12 hours and he was tired. All he wanted to do was go home, shower, and sleep. But he could tell from Sergeant Williams's expression that something important had happened. Thompson, we need to talk about the Mitchell case, Sergeant Williams said. Marcus felt his stomach tighten. He had been hoping that Dr. Mitchell really was who he claimed to be. but part of him was still worried that the whole thing might be an elaborate lie. "What's the news?" Marcus asked. "It's all true," Sergeant Williams said. "Dr. Chen brought all the documentation, employment records, faculty ID, everything. And she identified him positively. Dr. Mitchell really is a chemistry professor at the university." Marcus sat down heavily in a chair. He felt a mix of relief and embarrassment. Relief that Dr. Mitchell was innocent, but embarrassment that he had arrested an innocent man. "So I arrested a professor for doing his job," Marcus said. "You arrested someone who was acting suspiciously at 2:30 in the morning," Sergeant Williams corrected. "Someone who ran when you tried to question him. You did what any good officer would do." "But I was wrong," Marcus said. "I caused an innocent man to spend hours in jail. I probably ruined his important research." Sergeant Williams looked at Marcus with understanding. "Thompson, in 8 years of police work, this is the first time you've made a mistake like this. And it wasn't really a mistake. You had reasonable suspicion. The man was trying to open locked doors at a university building in the middle of the night. When you approached him, he ran. Those are all signs of criminal behavior." "But they weren't signs of criminal behavior," Marcus said. "They were signs of a scared professor who couldn't get into his own building." "You had no way of knowing that at the time," Sergeant Williams said. "You did your job correctly based on the information you had." Marcus knew that Sergeant Williams was trying to make him feel better, but it wasn't working. He kept thinking about Dr. Mitchell sitting in the holding cell, worried about his experiment and his family. "Is Dr. Mitchell still here?" Marcus asked. "He just left with Dr. Chen and another professor. They were going to check on his research." "I need to apologize to him," Marcus said. "You don't have to do that," Sergeant Williams said. "The case is closed." Dr. Mitchell seemed understanding about the whole situation. "I want to apologize," Marcus said firmly. "It's the right thing to do." Sergeant Williams nodded. "Okay, but maybe give him a day or two to recover from this experience. Then you can contact him if you want." Marcus went home, but he couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. He lived in a small apartment near the police station. Usually he could leave work at work, but tonight was different. He kept imagining Dr. Mitchell in the holding cell, worried and scared. Marcus made himself some coffee and sat down at his kitchen table. He thought about all the times he had approached suspicious people during his 8 years as a police officer. Most of the time his suspicions were correct. People who acted guilty usually were guilty, but this time was different. He thought about Dr. Mitchell's story. The man had been working late on important research. He had gone outside for fresh air and gotten locked out of his building. When Marcus approached him, he panicked and ran. None of these actions were criminal, but they looked criminal to someone who didn't know the context. Marcus realized that this case would teach him to be more careful about making assumptions. He would still do his job and investigate suspicious behavior, but he would try harder to get the full story before making arrests. The next morning, Marcus couldn't concentrate on anything. He kept thinking about Dr. Mitchell and wondering how his experiment had turned out. Finally, he decided to call the university and ask for Dr. Mitchell's office number. The university operator connected him to the chemistry department. A secretary answered the phone. "Chemistry department, this is Linda." "Hi, this is Officer Thompson from the city police. I need to speak with Dr. Mitchell about a police matter." "Oh my," Linda said. "Is Dr. Mitchell in trouble again?" "Again?" Marcus was confused. "I heard about what happened last night. Everyone in the department is talking about it." Poor Dr. Mitchell was arrested by mistake. Marcus felt even worse. Now the whole chemistry department knew about his mistake. "Is Dr. Mitchell available to speak with me?" "Let me check. He's been in his lab all morning working on his research." Linda put Marcus on hold for a few minutes. Then Dr. Mitchell came to the phone. "This is Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell, this is Officer Thompson, the officer who arrested you last night." There was a pause. "Oh, hello, Officer Thompson." "I'm calling to apologize," Marcus said. "I made a mistake last night, and I'm sorry for all the trouble I caused you." "Officer Thompson, you don't need to apologize. You were doing your job. I understand that my behavior looked suspicious. But I should have been more careful," Marcus said. "I should have tried harder to verify your identity before arresting you." "How could you have done that?" Dr. Mitchell asked. "I didn't have any identification with me, and I made things worse by running." Marcus was surprised by how understanding Dr. Mitchell was being. Most people would be angry about being wrongly arrested. "How was your experiment?" Marcus asked. Was it damaged by the delay? No, fortunately it was okay. My colleagues helped me check on it this morning. The crystals are still growing properly. I'm glad to hear that, Marcus said. I was worried that I had ruined months of your work. You didn't ruin anything, Dr. Mitchell said. If anything, this experience has made me more careful about carrying identification when I work late. Marcus felt a little better, but he still wanted to do something to make up for his mistake. Dr. Mitchell, is there anything I can do to help make this right? Actually, there is something, Dr. Mitchell said. I give talks to community groups about science and research. Maybe you could come to one of my talks sometime. It might help people understand what scientists do and why we sometimes work unusual hours. I would like that, Marcus said. When is your next talk? Next month, I'm speaking to the Rotary Club about my cancer research. It's on a Thursday evening at the community center. I'll be there, Marcus said. And Dr. Mitchell, thank you for being so understanding about this whole situation. Thank you for calling to apologize, Dr. Mitchell said. Not many people would take the time to do that. After he hung up, Marcus felt much better. Dr. Mitchell had been kind and forgiving, even though he had every right to be angry. Marcus decided that he wanted to learn more about Dr. Mitchell's research and about how the university worked at night. A few days later, Marcus was patrolling the university area again. This time, when he saw someone walking around the campus late at night, he approached them more carefully. Instead of immediately assuming they were up to no good, he asked polite questions and gave them a chance to explain what they were doing. That night, he met two graduate students who were working on a geology project that required them to observe stars. He met a maintenance worker who was fixing a broken pipe. He met a security guard who was making his rounds. All of these people had good reasons for being on campus late at night. Marcus realized that the university was like a small city that never really slept. There were always people working on important projects at unusual hours. He had learned to look more carefully at situations before jumping to conclusions. 2 weeks later, Marcus got a call from Sergeant Williams. Thompson, we got a letter addressed to you. It's from the university. Marcus opened the letter when he got to the station. It was from Dr. Chen, the head of the chemistry department. Dear Officer Thompson, the letter said, I wanted to thank you for the professional way you handled the situation with Dr. Mitchell. While the arrest was unfortunate, I understand that you were doing your job and trying to protect our campus. Dr. Mitchell has told me about your phone conversation and your willingness to attend his community presentation. We would like to invite you to visit our chemistry department sometime to learn more about our research and our security procedures. This might help prevent similar misunderstandings in the future. Please feel free to call me to arrange a visit. Sincerely, Dr. Sarah Chen. Marcus was touched by the invitation. Most people who had been wronged by police would not be so generous. But Dr. Chen and Dr. Mitchell seemed to understand that mistakes happened and that the important thing was to learn from them. Marcus called Dr. Chen the next week and arranged to visit the chemistry department. She gave him a tour of the building and showed him how the security system worked. She explained which doors were supposed to be open at night and which ones required special key cards. Our faculty often work very late, Dr. Chen explained as they walked through the hallways, especially when they have time-sensitive experiments. It's not unusual to see professors here at 2 or 3 in the morning. Marcus took notes as they walked. He wanted to remember everything so he could share the information with other officers who patrolled the university area. Dr. Chen showed him Dr. Mitchell's lab. Through the window, Marcus could see the crystal-growing equipment and the computers that monitored the experiments. Dr. Mitchell's research could lead to new medicines that help cancer patients, Dr. Chen explained. 3 months after the incident, life had returned to normal for everyone involved. Dr. Mitchell was back to his usual routine of working late nights in his laboratory. His crystal research was progressing well, and he had made some important discoveries that brought him closer to developing new cancer treatments. Marcus Thompson continued his patrol duties around the university district, but he approached his job differently now. The experience with Dr. Mitchell had changed how he thought about police work and about the people he encountered during his shifts. On a Tuesday evening in late fall, Marcus was driving through the campus area when he got a call on his radio. A security guard at the university had reported someone trying to break into the physics building. Marcus felt a familiar feeling in his stomach as he drove toward the scene. When he arrived, he saw a young woman in jeans and a hoodie standing near the physics building. She was trying different doors and looking frustrated. The scene looked very similar to what had happened with Dr. Mitchell months earlier. But this time, Marcus approached the situation differently. Instead of immediately assuming the worst, he parked his car and walked over calmly. "Good evening," Marcus said in a friendly voice. "I'm Officer Thompson. Is everything okay here?" The young woman looked startled but did not run. "Oh, hi. I'm having trouble getting into the building. My key card isn't working." "Are you a student here?" Marcus asked. "Yes, I'm a graduate student in physics. I was supposed to meet my professor here tonight to work on our research project, but I can't get the door to open." Marcus nodded. "What's your name?" "Lisa Chen. I'm working on my PhD dissertation." "And what's your professor's name?" "Dr. Johnson. He should be here somewhere, but I can't find him." Marcus took out his phone and called the university security office. This was something he had learned to do after the incident with Dr. Mitchell. "Security office, this is Dave." "Hi, Dave. This is Officer Thompson from City Police. I'm here with Lisa Chen, who says she's a physics graduate student. Can you verify that for me?" "Sure, let me check our system." "Lisa Chen. Yes, she's registered as a graduate student in the physics department. She should have access to the physics building after hours." "Thanks, Dave. Her key card isn't working. Can you help us figure out why?" "Sometimes the card readers malfunction. I can come over and let her in, or I can reset her card remotely." "Can you reset it remotely?" "Sure, give me a minute." Dave worked on his computer while Marcus and Lisa waited. After a few minutes, Dave came back on the phone. "Okay, her card should work now. The system had a glitch that was preventing some graduate student cards from working tonight." "Thanks, Dave. That solved the problem." Marcus hung up and turned to Lisa. "Try your card now. Security says they fixed the problem." Lisa tried her card and the door opened immediately. "Thank you so much. I was starting to think I would have to wait until tomorrow to work on my project." "No problem," Marcus said. "That's what we're here for." As Lisa went into the building, Marcus thought about how differently this situation had turned out compared to Dr. Mitchell's arrest. By calling security first and asking questions instead of making assumptions, he had solved the problem quickly and without any drama. Marcus drove around the campus for the rest of his shift. He saw several other people working late, a janitor cleaning buildings, some students studying in the library, and a professor loading equipment into his car. All of these activities looked normal to Marcus now because he understood better how the university worked at night. The next week, Marcus attended another one of Dr. Mitchell's community presentations. This time, Dr. Mitchell was speaking to a group of high school students who were interested in science careers. Marcus had become a regular attendee at these talks because he enjoyed learning about different types of research. Dr. Mitchell's presentation was about the importance of persistence in scientific research. He talked about how his crystal project had taken years to develop and how many failures he had experienced along the way. "Science is not like what you see in movies," Dr. Mitchell told the students. "Real research takes a very long time. You have to be willing to work strange hours and repeat the same experiments many times. You have to be prepared for disappointment when things don't work the way you expect." One student raised her hand. "Dr. Mitchell, what was the biggest setback you ever had in your research?" Dr. Mitchell smiled and looked at Marcus. "Actually, one of my biggest setbacks turned into one of my most valuable learning experiences. About 3 months ago, I was arrested by police who thought I was trying to break into the university." The students gasped and looked shocked. Marcus felt his face turn red with embarrassment, even though he had heard this story before. "The police officer was doing his job correctly," Dr. Mitchell continued. "I was acting in a way that looked suspicious, but the experience taught me some important lessons about communication and about understanding other people's perspectives." After the presentation, several students came up to talk to Dr. Mitchell and Marcus. They were curious about both science research and police work. One student asked Marcus, "Do you think you would handle the situation differently if it happened again?" "Definitely," Marcus said. "I've learned to ask more questions and gather more information before making decisions. I've also learned to work more closely with university security when I have questions about people on campus." Another student asked Dr. Mitchell, "Were you angry at Officer Thompson for arresting you?" "At first I was scared and confused," Dr. Mitchell said, "but I was never really angry. Officer Thompson was trying to protect the university and the community. When he realized there had been a misunderstanding, He did everything he could to make it right. Dr. Mitchell's positive attitude about the incident had impressed many people over the past few months. Instead of complaining or filing a lawsuit, he had used the experience as a teaching opportunity. The incident had also led to some positive changes at the police department. Marcus's supervisor had used the case as training material for other officers. They discussed how to handle suspicious behavior calls more carefully and how to work better with institutions like universities. The police department had also developed a better relationship with the university security office. Now, when police officers had questions about people on campus, they could call security directly for help. Dr. Chen, the chemistry department head, had invited several police officers to visit the university and learn about how it operated at night. These visits had helped officers understand that seeing people on campus at unusual hours was often normal, not suspicious. The university had also made some changes. They improved their building access systems so that faculty members were less likely to get locked out. They also created a policy that encouraged professors working late to inform security about their presence in buildings. 6 months after the incident, Marcus received a letter from the police chief commending him for how he had handled the aftermath of Dr. Mitchell's arrest. The chief wrote that Marcus's willingness to apologize and learn from his mistake had turned a potentially embarrassing situation into a positive example of police community relations. Dr. Mitchell's crystal research continued to progress. He had received additional funding from the university and from government agencies that supported medical research. His work was getting closer to the point where it could be tested in real patients. One day, Dr. Mitchell called Marcus at the police station. "Officer Thompson, I have some exciting news about my research." "What's that?" Marcus asked. "We've had a breakthrough with the crystals. The early tests show that they work even better than we hoped for delivering cancer medicines. We might be ready to start human trials within the next year." "That's wonderful news," Marcus said. "I'm glad your work wasn't set back by what happened that night." "Actually, I think the experience might have helped my research in an unexpected way," Dr. Mitchell said. "How so?" "The stress of being arrested made me realize that I had been working too many hours without taking breaks. After I was released, I started taking better care of myself and working more regular hours. It turns out that getting proper rest actually made me more creative and productive in my research." Marcus was amazed by Dr. Mitchell's ability to find positive aspects in what had been a difficult experience. "There's something else," Dr. Mitchell continued. "When we publish our research results, I want to acknowledge you in the paper." "Acknowledge me?" Marcus was confused. "I didn't help with your research. You helped me learn about the importance of communication and understanding between different groups of people. That's an important part of science, too. Scientists need to be able to explain their work to police officers, politicians, and ordinary citizens." Marcus was honored by Dr. Mitchell's offer, but he suggested that the acknowledgement should go to the entire police department and university security office for their improved cooperation. A year later, Dr. Mitchell's research paper was published in a major scientific journal. In the acknowledgement section, he thanked the members of the city police department and university security office whose commitment to understanding and communication helped create a better environment for scientific research.